Hi guys, welcome to 6th Degree Chat, actually tonight, not Robin Hood Diaries. I know I've crammed you full of my own stories. This is a very special story, as you can see here. I have my husband of nearly 33 years. We met at 26, I will be 59 this year. We're about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months apart, 6 months apart, so I'm half a year older. I want to let you know that the structure of this sort of marathon weekend is going to be tonight mostly about what happened. So it's not going to be a chronology, but it's going, and not bullet points at all, but I want to walk through a story that is a long story, but we will keep it, within our little limit here, hopefully. And it lays the groundwork for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk a lot about the emotional impact of some of these horrors. But tonight we have to lay the groundwork from sort of soup to nuts about what we're going to dive into tomorrow in terms of emotional impact. I want to say as a sort of disclaimer that in any political sense, this is in no way directed to the current administration. In point of fact, this actually story occurred during the Clinton administration. So I'm not absolving anyone of any civil rights opinions vis-a-vis current events, but this particular story we're going to tell has absolutely nothing to do with the current administration. And it does have much to do with the Clinton administration, and that's as far as I'll go politically. So I want to introduce you to my husband, but I sort of have an open letter. It is by way of introduction, and then I'm going to do a formal introduction. But I'm beginning this, how shall I say? Well, let's just dive in. This part of my portion, my little section here, is an open letter to the US Pentagon. I want to thank you, Pentagon, most facetiously. My husband is a Master Sergeant First Class in the US Army, was. He was about 7 or 8 years in. He was full throttle Desert Shield. And we will get into a little bit more of what he did as a Master Sergeant First Class. But my open letter is very much about my husband not being a footnote in your history, Defense Department. He was the turning point of your don't ask, don't tell policy at that time. Since that time, he actually was, sometimes I refer to him as being a part of Desert Storm, because basically he orchestrated all war games, taught all reconnaissance, and taught all weapons, intelligence. To go over within days, sometimes, to go do what they had to do. He loaded them up, as it were, both figuratively and literally, and so yes, he was very much a part of Desert Storm, classified Desert Shield. Nevertheless, he has since been denied every promise made to those who served, no recognition, robbed of his dignity, stripped of his rank. He was, as I said, what his rank was, level E7. It does not get too much higher than that, perhaps one level higher, unless you get into sort of very high-level intelligence positions, security clearance beyond imagination. Again, stripped of his rank, misrepresented terribly in the press, to the point where the LA Times was lied to by the Pentagon representative. And he's just been discarded under this sort of antiseptic clerical error, as it were. Ask the Pentagon, that was their words. And he is decorated. He is a wounded veteran, and he is a high-ranking veteran. And he bled for you and for me and for his family and for strangers, only to be punished for his valor. Okay, so that's my little introduction, my little open letter to those to whom it is directed. Now, hi Michael.
Hi.
This again is my husband of 33.
Hi.
33 years in this coming April.
Yeah.
And as many of you know, we met. I was working for the county doing research, boots on the ground with folks, and he was directing parking enforcement at the time. And because my research project dovetailed with his beat, as it were, where his officers covered region by region, beat by beat, his was mine. And I was technically not properly parked with this schooner that they gave us for a clinic, mobile clinic. So technically, yes, I was worthy of a ticket, but I had told my coworker very shortly before that I could be very happy with him for a very long time. The moment I saw him in front of me letting somebody off actually from a ticket. So I got the ticket where I was supposed to get the ticket, except the ticket said his name, his days off, his phone number, and a little love note or two. And then of course it was voided out of the system, but we still have that parking ticket framed. And there you go, here we are, all this time later. Now, I want Mike to take over in a way, of course, because it's his show in a way. We met at 26. He had recently departed the Army. This was early '94, and as I recall, he may have recovered or ended this nightmare in about '92.
Yes.
Okay, so with that backstory, and I'm sure you've gotten plenty of vibe from me on that backstory, take us from, and of course my shows are more of a conversation than anything, but take us through really just sort of enlistment, through the academy, everything that followed, that leaned into promotion, that leaned into many things that were horrifying for you personally, and then your interactions with the government, and sort of maybe bring us to that moment, that last moment. Okay. So where were you? Why were you in front of an enlistment officer? Why were you standing there?
I don't know, I always wanted to be in the military. I grew up with G.I. Joe dolls. All my family members were in different branches. And I studied for 2 years for the vocational aptitude battery. 5-hour test, I finished it in half the time. Your test score is based on your job. If you get a 39, a job comes up, that's what you get. I was met with a question, what do you want to be? And I impulsively said, I want to be a sergeant and wear a beret. And he said, fine, how about being a scout? I had no idea what that meant. I said, fine. 7 days later, I'm at Fort Knox, the Academy of the 19 Delta Weapons Reconnaissance Specialist School. Uh-oh, what was that? It was very intensive training, various temperatures, heat, cold, snow, mud. We were educated in every form of weapon held, weapon system, tactical optic wire systems, law rocket missile systems, tanks, armored personnel carriers, etc. At Fort Knox, at about the second month, they made me Master Sergeant First Class. I was the head of the class. I helped aircraft recognition, servicing of weapons, driving machinery, land navigation. We didn't have GPS back then, it was like a Thomas guide. So we carried a compass. After that training, I elected to go stateside to California to be attached to the Guard, to their Delta unit. It gave me an opportunity to take care of my ailing grandmother at the same time. At that point, I didn't discover, I had a crisis. It was gay, it was in the military, I didn't know what to do. So I opted to go AWOL from the world, lock myself in my Huntington Beach home, front door and bedroom.
Let's hold on, because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a little bit further out.
Got it.
Because I want to build into that moment a little bit more.
Understood.
So we are going to get there for sure. But let's not dive into that too soon. What I would like to know is, at least for now, from your promotion, or, you know, given rank so suddenly, I need to talk through what it is that you did for the Army. I know that you are restricted in, you know, I don't know, 20% from what you can actually even tell me.
Right.
But walk us through what a day in the life might be once you were promoted and put into duty. What was your tasks? What was your responsibilities, and to whom? And let's go through that a little bit more step by step before we get into how it unraveled.
Okay. All right. Well, as a Delta, we had to teach everybody weapon systems, guidance systems, navigation, execution, chemical, biological hazard battle suits. They look like space suits. And we were forward observers a few miles in behind the lines. It was our function to physically gather information, locations, units, equipment, types, send that back to the rear, to the Tactical Operation Command Center. With our observations, they would culminate a battle plan, send fire in from the rear to hit the target. If they missed the target, we would adjust it like a chessboard, move the piece over 3 up, adjust the howitzers, take care of business. That was our job, basically. You couldn't hear us, we moved in silence, we were ghosts. That was part of the training. Next question.
Next question.
Sorry about that.
No, you're going in the right direction. I want, people need to understand exactly what you were doing, and what it led to, and, you know, step by step, so that we can understand the emotional impact of what happened. Talk a little bit about your role as a, for lack of a better word, because it's very anti-military, your role managing operations, your role vis-a-vis your rank, your supervisorial role, and the things entailed with those that you led into war.
Right. Okay, that's a big one. As leading, I was particularly responsible for group readiness and cohesion, which basically meant motor pool observations, engine compartments, vehicles, to make sure that they were operational, weapons distribution, navigational, any other various equipment that we would need, chemical weapons, counteracting drugs of the sort. And we were given orders to go forward to a particular grid to sniff out the problems. So we would always work at night. We never worked in the daytime. We were ghosts. See everything, hear everything, report everything. In the event of discovery, we were equipped with 2 launched optical wire guided missile systems, law missile systems, 50 caliber machine guns, and an array of other weaponry.
Well, tell me about your relationships with your subordinates. Did you have an approach because you were promoted so quickly? And I know some of that had to do with taking friendly fire during training episodes, but did you have, what was different about your approach as a master sergeant with your subordinates perhaps maybe against like John Doe Sergeant?
Well, that was easy. I went in and cleaned the entire latrine. I did the toilets, I did the showers, I did the mopping, I did the mirrors, I cleaned the sinks. And that was observed by everybody. Normally that would be delegated down for somebody else to do. But it's very impactful because it says, we're all on the same par. Nobody's more or less than the other. If this guy can go in and clean the bathrooms, I'm gonna do anything that he asks of me. And that pretty much was a structure. It was cohesive, it was a family, it wasn't hierarchical, it was harmony. Everybody knew how everybody thought, how everybody reacted cohesively, much like a chess game.
How would you approach insubordination?
Well, that's funny. We never had insubordination, quite frankly. Under usual circumstances out of our unit, you would get an Article 15, do a little time, have your rank reduced, assigned horrible duties, and it was dealt like that. It was very simplistic. It wasn't complicated.
When you're stripped like that, do you ever have an opportunity to get the rank back?
Well, that's a good question.
Not you, but in general.
You gotta work really hard to earn your rank back.
So once you're stripped, especially with multiple ranks, it's virtually a done deal. There's no way to rise up another 6 ranks.
Well, in my case, because it was a gay issue, no, I would be the absolute last person to give me my rank back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just move a little bit to the extent that you're comfortable about, and again, we're going to get into emotional impact tomorrow,
Right.
but maybe like a bullet points of the not completely sensitive parts about actually what you experienced during certain not so wonderful training exercises with your subordinates.
Oh, yes. Armored personnel carriers can float in water about this high over the water line, but they're drain plugs that you have to screw in the front and back. If you forget to put them in, you go into the water, you immediately sink and you drown. So multiply the driver, the track commander, the radio operator, and 8 of the personnel. Do the math. Other people I've watched roll down mountains in vehicles and neck snapped. In my case, I covered for one of my soldiers, an incoming grenade came in. I blocked, covered him. I took the grenade in the back of my right leg in the small, and the shrapnel moved up to the top of my leg. Without even knowing it until everything was over, which is an example of adrenaline under fire.
I would like to add a footnote to that, which will develop within our little story here, mostly tomorrow, is that as I had mentioned in the beginning, Michael was stripped of his ranks as a Master Sergeant, First Class for, quote, being a practicing, you know what I call, homo, the rest, practicing, quote. So that is just a footnote for now when he says, referring to being gay or because of gay or whatever. We will get into a little bit of how that unraveled too. But so talk about then when you were doing routine work that you were used to doing as a Master Sergeant, First Class, how did that, without getting into sort of the political sort of, scenario.
Right.
What was that moment or moments when you were suddenly maybe not a Master Sergeant, First Class, when it made us, whatever, the first moment or a couple of moments where it was like, hey, this is a thing. Like, I am looking at being stripped. Was it the moment with the ribbon? Was it the moment with the, what was it? Or the first moment or two where it really hits you, this is really gonna be a problem, the gay issue?
Well, really quickly, it started with, oh my God, I'm gay. It's a conflict with military policy. What do? It's lock yourself in your house, stop eating, drinking water, try suicide. Good friends broke the door down looking for me after 2 weeks.
Let's not jump too far ahead, though.
Oh, I won't. I'm so sorry.
Because we're going to get to the unraveling part. But I want to know more specifically, not that, but what in and around a time or moment in time where you realized as a person in the military
Right.
that, whoa, wait a minute, the gay thing's going to be a problem.
I AWOL'd the platoon.
But is that when you really realized, or is that something you did after you realized? Where was the moment or moments when, well before what happened when they found out, that you personally realized, this gay thing's going to become a problem? Internally, did something happen where there was a first moment or two or three where you thought to yourself, because of whatever was unraveling or about to unravel, this is going to be a problem? This gay thing's going to be a problem?
No cover, not a wife, not a girlfriend, not a discussion, not a picture. That's what happened. That's really what sparked the smell and the curiosity.
So it was really the first moments that you had with this gay thing being a problem is being aware that other people may be aware that you don't have girlfriends, that you are a loner or whatever. That's when it started to hit you that, wait a minute, I'm in the Army and I'm smelling something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I felt the bus coming.
Okay. So then from that moment when you started smelling that stink, shy of the other stuff going into the bedroom and unraveling and whatever, take us from the moment of those incidents or feelings about, wow, this is getting noticed, I'm having second thoughts about where this is going. What happened from there before the unraveling part?
Oh gosh. I came out of the closet by taking battalion letterhead, putting it in a Remington manual typewriter, and saying everything in military terminology. I am a homosexual. I participate in the Gay and Lesbian Center rap groups. I go to bars. I go to parades. They did not like that at all.
No, they didn't. So did it go from this hyper awareness of yikes, this is not maybe working anymore, people are noticing, all the way to the typewriter? What happened in between that moment or moments of yikes, this is something people might start be noticing, to the typewriter moment? What was in there? Was it a lot of thinking about the openly coming out, or what drove you to that typewriter? Like, what was like, okay, this is typewriter stuff?
A couple of friends gave me an option. Make a wrong decision or come out of the closet. So they held me to the typewriter. Again, I took the battalion letterhead, admitted to everything, not coercion, not evading service, not intoxication, which were the primary ways of getting off from that little problem. I told them I was gay or felt or became gay in the 90s. That was bullshit. I've been gay my whole life. I was just a good actor.
Right. It was just good timing, also, of course, because then it would lean into, well, you entered the whole thing knowing you were still gay. It was more palatable to say you sort of discovered you were gay.
Right.
Right.
Everybody knew I was gay, though. I mean, we didn't have a word. They just knew.
It was a vibe? Or there was no word said?
No, it was just kind of an understanding that, the man in charge is gay. Nobody used any words. It was just understood. I mean, come on, they did all their laundry when they went to church every Sunday. I was from LA. You're from LA, you can't donate blood because AIDS.
Mhm.
So I had Sundays off. I did laundry for the platoon.
Well, I'm sure they appreciated that. And it engenders a lot of loyalty and respect, and that's just a given, you know, right?
Yeah.
That would be a given. Okay, so then from the typing of this coming out letter, because all that had happened, tell us, I don't want to say briefly, but
Right.
Tell us a little bit about, we're taking ourselves from this moment of typewriter moment to what was going on in the LGBTQA plus politically in terms of don't ask, don't tell at that moment. Give us a little bit of what that is,
Right.
and then how it played into what was going on before the typewriter moment.
It was a soft policy. Everybody, if they knew you were gay, you don't ask. The gay person doesn't tell anything, but yet everybody knows anyways. The don't ask, don't tell policy, that impeded my career, actually. And coming out on government letterhead, hand delivered at the command center, Fullerton, California, sealed the deal, actually.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, we'll get into sort of like the aftermath of what happened to you, but tell us, for the, let's say the armchair quarterback, the average gal or dude, what was it about don't ask, don't tell that you contradicted? That, how did it get sort of upended with the beginning of the use and the keep mine holds and the, like, what was, you became a part of that flip in the policy.
Yeah.
How?
There were 5 of us actually that changed it. 2 women, I'll leave the names out, Marine Corps, Air Force ladies, 1 gentleman in the Navy, and 1 gentleman in the Air Force, and I was the Army component. Each one of us had publicity, each one added to the rage about the don't ask, don't tell policy, wanting to continue it and keep it in place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the need to keep it in place got haywire. What was it about you 5, that specifically, for those that aren't really savvy politically, what was it about the whatever 5 that specifically upended don't ask, don't tell? Was it the calling attention to how ludicrous it was, or was it pointing out legal contradictions, or was it just being there talking about it?
There were too many of us to actually take on their problem, quite honestly. I have met a lot of them, interviews in the CNN building. Don't ask, don't tell policy, we were gay, therefore we were used as examples of what should not happen and what needed to be dissolved, the don't ask, don't tell policy.
So you really brought light, you small group, brought light to essentially that this needs to go away.
Oh, absolutely, everything. Interviews, television, press junkets, everybody knew. It inflamed the Pentagon.
1 or 2 sentences about how it inflamed the Pentagon.
That an openly gay person had the chutzpah to go on national junkets, newspapers, Los Angeles Times, photographs, colleges, universities, public speaking. That was unheard of, but they did not know I did it all in my uniform. The Pentagon had no idea that gay Michael, I had a different last name, I'm Michael Alexander now, I changed it. But Michael Dull, Dull. If they find out about that, we'll see if they knock on my door. Michael Dull helped spearhead and break down the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy with a famous author.
Randy Schultz,
Yeah,
actually.
Randy Schultz.
Michael is referenced in several places, one of which, and the band played up? No, I'm sorry, it was...
Well, I was interviewed for a week from Randy.
Yeah, so there were, I am so sorry, I can't think of his book right now. Ugh.
That's okay.
But he's been referenced, obviously. Strangely enough, we won't get into it. Finding my husband online is not the easiest thing to do.
No.
There should be a lot more about a Michael Dull. There is not. My husband is still specifically referred to as a PFC because he was stripped from being a master sergeant, first class. He was stripped down to a private first class. So you can imagine how horrifyingly humiliating, for starters, that would be. And I might add that the Pentagon was so successful in its convincing nature that actually the LA Times article also refers to my husband as a PFC, a private first class. So that completely swept out the whole story about, well, no, but yes, he is, because you stripped him, but this was his rank and this is his deal. This was his story, this was his everything. Everything was taken away to the point of virtually making him disappear.
Yes.
And we are in still disappearance mode. I will add that my husband gets no veterans benefits whatsoever.
Nope.
He does not get any GI loan.
Nope.
He does not get any due recognition vis-a-vis what he has done.
Nope.
His decorated medals and commendations from the state of California are moot, as are his bars relating to his service and his service activities. Those are gone.
Yes.
They're all gone.
Gone. No more drag.
Yeah, so thank you very much for trying to erase my husband. And I will add, for those ladies out there, or gentlemen, but mostly ladies, who try to kind of sort of, I know the deal, outrank them each other, you know, military wife, what have you. Well, I outrank most of y'all within maybe 10 miles minimum. So, you know, I'm kind of a funny little military wife there. So what we're going to focus on tomorrow is the emotional impact of what we have just discussed and how it avalanches into horror. He mentioned a little bit about the suicidal stay word, and what drove him to that, and the excruciating moment when he sat down and realized he was going to rip himself apart over this whole thing by sitting down after having tried to starve himself and deciding to throw himself into the fire. So I think tonight, did we establish a little groundwork for tomorrow's emotional impact?
Tomorrow we can talk about the ACLU.
Yeah, well, that again, tomorrow's not going to be all a personal impact. What we're going to do is focus into how this got messy, leading to a breakdown of sorts, which led to a monumental moment in history that took place in a room. Fascinating story. So we're going to pick up where we are leaving off now, and we're going to talk about the involvement of the ACLU. We're going to talk about the involvement of the lots. Okay, lots. I don't want to even mention some of them by name because they are associated by ethnicity and religion, and let's just not go there yet. So tomorrow, like I said, we have a little chronology here of where we're at. Tomorrow we're going to dive into how everyone jumped in the pool of boiling water and tried to put out fires left and right, who was involved, such as the ACLU, and that unraveling that led to the moment with his confrontation with our Defense Department.
Global.
Yeah,
Global.
with global impacts.
Global.
We'll get into all that. Like I said, impact. So we're going to just sort of riff off of what our foundation that we've established today, which is basically the chronology of where we're going to go tomorrow.
Yay!
Okay? So thank you for joining me.
Thank
and baby
you.
girl, thank you for being part of
Thank
the
you.
show. And I'm going to leave us there. And we will see you tomorrow night with the second half of this little marathon. Thank you for joining us. 6th Degree chats. As always, our little surprises. And this is our little marathon surprise. So
Yay!
thanks again.
You're welcome.
And why don't you say bye to everyone?
Bye. I can't wait for tomorrow. We'll blow your socks off. Trust me.
Okay.
Yay.
See you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
Not so funny, I guess, huh? Well, it depends on the type of humor that you have.
There you go.
Okay, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. I love you. Do everything I wouldn't do.
Thank you.
Bye.